thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I am really excited to be at this stage of this announcement for the Capital CoLAB at the Greater Washington Partnership. As these things go, it's been a long time in coming on the back end as we've been putting the pieces in order. And I'm really delighted today to be joined by GDIT President Amy Gilliland and Capital CoLAB Advisory Committee member to help launch the official public face of the CoLAB Scholarship for Minorities and Women. So for this press briefing today, I'm going to spend just a little bit of time going through some of the nuts and bolts of this new CoLAB Scholarship for Minorities and Women. And then I'm going to hand it over to Amy to talk about why General Dynamics has been investing in this program. At the end of our briefing, you will have an opportunity to drop questions into the chat. So as we're going through, if you have specific questions, feel free to queue them up, and then Justin will help us moderate those Q&A at the very end. So I realize many of you on this call are familiar with the Capital CoLAB and the Greater Washington Partnership, but I did want to spend just a moment explaining why we have such an imperative to act the way that we act in this region. So we think about the Capital region as being bigger than just a single MSA. So the Greater Washington Partnership's footprint is Baltimore all the way down to Richmond. We imagine this as a mega region, and the reason that we do that is because this region is so much more powerful as the sum of its parts than thinking just as an individual city or an individual state or district. As you look at these stats on the screen, you can see how much diversity and how much potential we have as we look at all of the amazing assets that are in this footprint. So as we looked at this space and imagined changing this region in inclusive and engaging ways, this became really important that we considered this space as a mega region. The Capital CoLAB then came out of the Greater Washington Partnership 3 years ago as we began to look at the skills and talent components that were going to be necessary to ensure that we were guiding this region and supporting this region as we needed around skills and talent. So we know that we have a major tech talent gap in our workforce in this region. In particular, as we were looking at our analysis through 2025, it was very clear to us that we had a problem both in STEM fields, where we are thinking about the traditional engineers and computer scientists, but also in what we called tech adjacent fields. And so these are people who work and touch digital tech fields loosely, but don't necessarily need to be a STEM major. And so if we continued on with business as usual, our tech gaps were looking pretty extreme. And so the Capital CoLAB was really created to help employers and educators work together to begin to address this tech talent gap that we see in this footprint. And we think that we are able to address it. This is a solvable problem, but it's not something that any single employer or any single education institution is able to solve on their own. So the Capital CoLAB really exists at its core to bring all of these players together to help ensure that we have the diverse digital tech workforce that's necessary to feed this region. So when we think about tech talent, we also need to think about diversity and inclusion. And in particular, when we looked at what we were seeing in this region, we were acutely aware that we actually have all the raw pieces that we need. We have diverse people. We have amazing educators and education bodies. We have an incredible nonprofit sector that is committed to helping to bring all these people into the workforce. And we have employers who are hungry for these individuals. So we know that we have the raw elements, but what we're seeing when we look at the workforce is that we're not actually seeing representation in digital tech fields that match the diversity that we're seeing in the regular workforce. And so these graphs on the right demonstrate the race and ethnicity breakdown of the regional workforce. And when you look at the left, you see then that in our tech occupations, we're not reaching parity yet. And so we know that we need to do something different in order to encourage diverse people to move into digital tech roles, whether they are those STEM roles in particular, or what we consider those tech adjacent roles. So the Capital CoLAB then rests in this space. And our vision is that the Capital region is going to have the most diverse digital tech workforce in the country. Our mission is to work across all of our partners in this region to achieve that and to ensure that people who are moving into digital tech roles have industry aligned expertises so that we are working with our employers to ensure that what they need is actually what's being signaled to our education partners, so that people, as they go through education pathways, are able to enter the workforce ready on day one with the digital tech knowledge, skills, and abilities that they need. And we have been committed through the Capital CoLAB that by 2025, we will engage over 45,000 students and adult learners in digital tech pathways. At least 50% of those people will be from underrepresented populations. And this is really key to us. We need to double the number of partner organizations that are working to scale these efforts. And the reason we want to bring more into this work is because there's plenty of work to go around, and there's lots of really great thinkers and great organizations that are working to solve these problems. So we want to work in collaboration and make sure that we are thinking about these problems in new ways and envisioning new solutions that potentially haven't been developed before. So the Digital Tech Credential Scholarship for Minorities and Women is actually one of these initiatives. And it really rests in this space where we recognize that in order to achieve our goal of having 50% of the people we engage from underrepresented populations, we're going to have to signal to underrepresented populations that we want them to be engaged in digital tech fields, that we want them to take courses that maybe they hadn't thought about taking before, and that employers across the region are committed to ensuring that students are aware that they're wanted, are aware that there's space for them in the workforce, and in fact that they are desperately, desperately needed in these digital tech fields. So the Digital Tech Credential Scholarship is a $5 million scholarship fund that will be awarded through 2025. It is $2,500 per scholarship. And what this scholarship represents to us is the amount of money that it takes for a student of color or a woman, people who are underrepresented in digital tech fields, to take a course that maybe they weren't already planning on taking, and to begin to move them into a digital tech pipeline. So this $5 million pot will allow us to support up to 2,000 students through 2025. And in particular, as we thought about this effort and why it was so important, we know that students have been hit especially hard because of the pandemic. And so making sure that underrepresented students know that employers want them in the workforce, in this digital tech workforce, that they are vital, and that we simply will not thrive as a region if we don't make sure that we are bringing people who traditionally have not been in these fields into this workforce is really key. We also are incredibly inspired at the CoLAB on a daily basis by our CoLAB employers. So our employers are deeply committed, not just to single action, not just to individually trying to build their own workforce, but actually collaborating across this region to ensure that we have a diverse digital tech ecosystem. And this is really key as we imagine what it takes to bring all of these people into this workforce. I'm just really excited and thrilled by our employer commitment to this work. And finally, we know we need more people in the pipeline broadly. So when those digital tech talent gaps that I shared in the beginning, those are extreme, and we can't solve this problem by continuing business as usual. We need to make big efforts to engage new people in this digital tech pipeline. And the Digital Tech Credential Scholarship for Minorities and Women is really intended to do that. So our funders at this stage, we have confidential funders, and then we also have some public corporate funders. So Deloitte, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, and T. Rowe Price are our founding funders of the Digital Tech Scholarship for Minorities and Women. We are at a stage where we certainly will accept additional funds, and so we're working with a number of potential donors right now to add to this pot of money. The more resources we can add to this fund, the more diverse students we can support in this pipeline. And I just think the sky is the limit when we think about the kind of impact we can potentially have, the kind of region we can potentially have. This goal, this vision that we have of building the most diverse digital tech workforce in the country is completely achievable. I have zero doubt we can do this with the players that we have in place and with the investments that we're seeing from our partners. It's really just incredible. On the post-secondary side, students who are eligible for this scholarship will be enrolled at one of our 17 digital tech credential universities. So the Digital Tech Credential from the Capital CoLAB is a program, a course of study that students take in a variety of fields. And these 17 universities are currently participating in this program. So any student who is enrolled in the Digital Tech Credential at one of these institutions is eligible to apply for the scholarship. and to receive that $2,500. And our universities are actively working with us right now. We expect that we will be awarding the first cohort of scholars this fall. So we are very, very excited to launch this program. At this point, I do want to share just all of our information. If you want to connect with us, feel free to jot that down so that you can reach out to me after this. But I do want to hand it over again to Amy Gilliland, the president of GDIT, to talk just a little bit from her vantage point of being a major employer in the region and also one of our advisory committee members at the Capital CoLAB. So Amy, if I can hand it to you, that would be terrific.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Jeannie. I am inspired by the CoLab work, and I'm happy to be here this morning. So good morning, everybody that's joining us. As Jeannie said, since its inception 3 years ago, the Capital CoLab has partnered with industry leaders like myself across our region to grow and diversify the digital technology workforce. And General Dynamics, GDIT as part of General Dynamics, but the corporation writ large has been an enthusiastic and committed member of CoLab from the very beginning because of exactly what Jeannie said. We have an imperative to develop a diverse digital workforce, and it's critical to supporting our government customers' missions. Jeannie's presentation highlighted that the metropolitan Washington area boasts among the most ambitious and best educated workforce in the country. So I couldn't agree with you more, Jeannie, that we have what we need here. And for GDIT in particular, we have a third of our 30,000 employees based here. And so we rely heavily on this region for our highly skilled workforce. I am a native Marylander myself, so I've always appreciated the diversity of our region. And I made the choice, frankly, to have a career and raise my family in this culturally vibrant area. With that said, and as I look across GDIT and the region's workforce, it does not, as you said, Jeannie, reflect the rich diversity that we have here in this area. And so more has to be done to make information technology an appealing and an inclusive career choice for more young people. And we do have incredible universities in the region that we've been able to source our talent from in the past at GDIT, but I think if COVID has showed us anything, it is that the race for great technical talent is accelerating. Jeannie, you and I were talking about that before it started today. So we realize that we have to think differently about building our digital technical community moving forward. So for GDIT, we've been tackling this through early career talent programs, internships, on-the-job development programs, to really try and attract and prepare candidates from diverse backgrounds for IT roles. But we know recruiting new talent from all types of backgrounds only strengthens our thinking and our expertise. And we really see and saw through COVID, where we were developing on the run new and responsive innovations for our customers. Diversity inspires those new ideas. And I think that proved itself so many times over the past 16 or 18 months. So the scarcity of talent with cutting edge skills, it's growing. And so we have expanded our talent approach to include building capabilities via technical development and training programs, either our own or through this really exquisite collaboration with the Greater Washington Partnerships CoLab. This kind of work, through doing this together, we are developing thousands of early career professionals and creating a sustainable pipeline of diverse technical talent for the critical federal IT workforce. As Jeannie shared, CoLab set an ambitious goal to build the most diverse digital tech workforce in the country by engaging 45,000 learners in digital tech pathways by 2025, at least half of whom will come from communities that are underrepresented in today's technical workforce. Jeannie, I am with you. I think we can absolutely do this. And we do need to bring more partners on board, but we are excited about achieving that goal. This need for technology talent and for talent that represents the incredible diversity in our region is why we at General Dynamics are so committed to supporting the CoLab vision. The Digital Tech Scholarship for Minorities and Women is intended to support students, as Jeanne highlighted, attending the 17 partner universities to pursue and achieve this digital certification. And the digital certification has been really critical to GDIT. It's been a journey for CoLAB, but over the past several years, GDIT has committed subject matter experts in cybersecurity, data management, and networking, all areas that are core to our customers. And we have supported the development of the curriculum that is the foundation for that certification. So Jeanne, this has been a superb partnership and one as an employer that has really benefited our business. So over the coming 4 years, the CoLAB will provide up to 2,000 scholarship to women and minorities. And we're really excited about that. I will tell you, Jeanne, also as a business, there was an awakening last year, I think, as we dealt with, broader social issues in our society. And we're having real conversations about that at GDIT and trying to push the ball forward as we build a more inclusive culture here. So really excited about the focus of this scholarship, not just on the tech side, but also on the women and minority side. That is really important for our business and the journey that we are on. So the $5 million scholarship fund accessible to students from across the region who are just launching their careers. I think you made this point, Jeanne, and I just want to reiterate it, that it signals to our future workforce that they're critical to our success. And I think sending that signal that we as a business want this and we are interested in it and that we are committed to supporting their interest and continued engagement in digital tech pathways, that really matters. I'm excited about that. So by coordinating the financial support of multiple funders, as you highlighted there, and so thankful to the others that are joining General Dynamics in supporting CoLAB's efforts here, we're ensuring that the impact is greater than any one of our individual investments. And I think that's really important. We have an ambitious goal and we can do it, and we're stronger together. So General Dynamics, just in closing, is proud to support this effort, and we invite other companies to join us as we ensure that the Washington Capital Region has simply the very best digital talent available to meet the needs of our customers and protect the nation's critical IT infrastructure. Really excited to be here with you, Jeanne, and on this journey with you, and to accomplish and achieve this ambitious goal, which will make us better as a company, better as a region, and better as a nation.
Thank you so much, Amy. And you all can see exactly why I'm so privileged to be able to work with such exceptional leaders in this region. Amy, GDIT's both big vision and push on CoLAB over the years to think even harder about these problems, but also, as you articulated, some of the tactical support, building out KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities, which isn't always sexy work, but is the core of what we do to ensure that the employer signal is coming to the region in a comprehensive way. So thank you, as always, for everything you've done to guide our work and to push us even harder to be exceptional. We really appreciate it.
It's a privilege.
Justin, at this point, do we have any questions from the members of the press that are on the line that they would like us to address?
We don't have any yet, but folks, the Q&A function is available. So if you have any questions, please submit them there. We'll stick around for a few minutes to see what comes through. Thank you. I'll also note that the recording will be made available to attendees this afternoon, along with our press release. And I just see our first question. Jeanne, how many partner organizations does CoLAB currently have?
That's great. So the Capital CoLAB has two sides of the house. We have a K-12 pathways side of the house called Talent Ready, and then we have the Digital Tech Credential Program. In the Digital Tech Credential Program, we have 17 universities that are currently offering the Digital Tech Credential. And then we have 18 employers who are engaged in both the Talent Ready side of the house, which is that K-12 pathways work, and then the Digital Tech Credential also. We also, on the Talent Ready side, work with K-12 jurisdictions. So we have 5 K-12 jurisdictions in the region who are actively mapping pathways, beginning in high school, moving into community colleges, and then moving into four-year institutions. So those 5 jurisdictions are Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Prince George's County, Fairfax, and Montgomery County. And so when we talk about those 45,000 learners, it is both the digital tech credential side of the house, but it's also that talent ready side of the house where we're beginning in high school and recognizing that in order to engage diverse learners, we have to start earlier in some cases. And so those students will eventually move into the digital tech credential, we hope, at one of our 17 university partners, and we'll encourage them eventually to move into this workforce and stay in this region. We know that the majority of people live where they graduated college, and the majority of students go to college where they grew up. And so if we can retain this diverse talent, I think we're in incredible shape. Thank you for that question.
And also, Jeannie, another question. How was that group of organizations growing organically over the years with CoLAB?
So it's been traditionally the CoLAB employers have been Greater Washington Partnership Board members. So that has been, there's members at the Greater Washington Partnership who sit on the board, and a subset of them have chosen to be actively engaged in the Capital CoLAB. So that's where the majority of those 18 employers come from. Just recently, we've begun adding non-GWP employer partners. And so we do have a handful of folks who have said, you know, we're not going to engage the full Greater Washington Partnership portfolio, which has a number of other work streams. Skills and talent is the thing that we are doubling down on in this region. And so that handful of employers has joined just the Capital CoLAB and been engaged there. I expect that this particular group of employer partners is going to grow exponentially in the coming year. And so that will be a priority for CoLAB. To be perfectly candid, in our early phases, we were working, again, mostly with just GWP board members, and our priority was ensuring GWP board members were participating first and investing in the CoLAB. But again, in the coming year, I do expect that we'll be adding non-GWP employers into this work more intentionally. We also have seen a huge number of universities adding the Capital CoLAB Digital Tech Credential programming to their portfolio. So we started out with just 12 universities. We have 17 that are implementing the Digital Tech Credential today. We have another few who are still mapping the KSAs into their curriculum, and so they are not yet offering the Digital Tech Credential, but they're on the on-ramp to be doing that. And our practice really has been, as post-secondary partners want to join in the work, if they are able to map their curriculum and engage in embedding the KSAs into their courses, then we absolutely, and they understand the vision that we have for building the diverse digital tech workforce and are committed to helping us achieve that, then we bring them in. So this is not intended to be a highly exclusive club. It is really intended to ensure that we are building high quality, diverse digital tech talent in this region that can engage with our employers in meaningful ways.
Great, thank you, Jeannie. Another question. When credentials are obtained, do employers and universities connect to help recipients move into open jobs?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So we have a number of different mechanisms that we use to connect those students to employers in real time. First and foremost, the majority of our universities are creating badging systems. So that's part of their onboarding to the Digital Tech Credential. So when students complete the collection of courses that is mapped to the knowledge, skills, and abilities that employers have said they need, they will receive a digital badge that they can put in their LinkedIn profile, they can put on their resumes, they can also upload into Handshake. And so as employers are using Handshake systems mostly to find entry-level talent, they will be able to then identify those students who have earned that badge. We also have in some cases, and this won't surprise anyone who works in this space, some of our universities have not yet implemented the badging program, and that's okay. It can take some time just to get it up and running. And so while we're doing that, we engage in a number of programs through the Capital CoLAB intended to connect students and employers. So we have an annual career fair where digital tech credential students come and they engage with employers for internships and full-time positions. And then we also do a whole series of programs throughout the year where students can engage with employers very directly. So we do that. The final piece is just helping to make sure that employers and students know how to look for each other. And so that involves working with our talent acquisition leads at all of our employers, ensuring they know how to find those students, and coaching all of our students to ensure that they are able to adequately articulate that they're a part of the Capital CoLAB Digital Tech Credential Program, and exactly what it means in terms of their knowledge, skills, and abilities. Our programming is definitely increasing in scope and scale. And so over the coming year, you will be seeing much more out of our shop to make sure that we're making those connections. Additionally, for the scholarship in particular, there is a cohort element to that. So for the scholarship, in addition to receiving $2,500, students will be invited to participate in specific scholarship programming, again, to make sure that employers are connecting with those students, because this is both a goal of bringing numbers and people into this digital tech talent pipeline, but we want to retain them. And we know that when you look at the research and you look at the practice, students do better when they have other students that they're engaging with, and then when they're able to directly engage with employers. So that cohort element of the Digital Tech Credential Scholarship for minorities and women is really about making sure we're supporting students along their journey toward a digital tech career, and that they're able to engage with employers and people on the CoLAB staff who will support them throughout their pathway.
Thank you, Jeanne. On to the next one. So what are the stats for how many students are employed and where they're employed after getting credentials from the CoLAB and university partners?
That's a great question. And the answer to that question is that most of our students are still in the pipeline. So they start, because the program is only 3 years old and many of them started as first-year students, they haven't actually completed their course of study yet and graduated from their university. So we know this question is sort of the $1 million question for the CoLAB, and we are tracking it aggressively. And as our students graduate and enter the workforce, we are asking constantly our employers to send information back to us about who they're hiring and how they're engaging. What I can say is that we have close to 100 students who have completed the course of study for a digital tech credential, and that they are beginning to they just graduated, many of them this year. And so they are beginning to move into those employer pipelines. So we're tracking that aggressively, and we will be able to, I expect in the coming months, be able to report out with pretty significant granularity, which I think is key to this kind of work.
Great, thank you, Jeanne. I'm not seeing any other questions at this time, but for all those on the line, I'll be sending the recording and the press release this afternoon, in addition to an email that you can reach out to gain more information about the scholarship and CoLAB's work. This has been a great session. Thank you to our speakers for their time and insights. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thanks so much, Justin.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeanne. Bye.